Hello there, it's me, Katsuchio. I am here today in hopes of teaching you all to make more effective pick and bans. So we will look in detail at what both players in this match picks and bans, and determine which one has the advantage at the end of it, as well as how both players might be looking to play out the game. Before we begin, we will take note that player 1 is running 4 tank, 4 healer box, while player 2 is running a 2 tank and 3 healer box. So let's begin here, and we see a Landius ban on both sides. So immediately we can ask ourselves, what is the purpose of this Landius ban, and would it be more beneficial to ban Landius over Juggler here? Now looking at player 1's box, banning Landius does not really make Varna that good. If Varna is going to face off versus Juggler, she has to drop Arrow Rain, not hitting Juggler. Otherwise, you have to heal up your opponent's team and you're only going to get that Dispel out of it. So just for one Dispel from Varna, not really that useful. I mean, you can use her as a mass attack, but that's really about it. Mass attack, King's Crown. So she's going to be a support if you're going to pick Varna versus Juggler. Now everyone else are sort of okay versus Juggler. We have like 4 tanks. They don't really matter versus Juggler, but there's a Sword Elwyn. He definitely does not want to face a Cavalry Landius. Other than that, everything here are quite okay versus Juggler. Now we look at player 2's box. We see a few assassins here from Zarda and Hiei. They will do more damage, ranged damage, versus Juggler, or we should say non-Landius tanks. So that's why we see the Landius bans here. So the Listel, very good versus Juggler tanks. But they also have 4 tank box, so he's going to probably get one of the tanks, if not Juggler or Landius. Alright, so we won't go that much in depth on why this box might want to face Juggler, just because there's 4 tanks here, and it probably doesn't matter in this match anyways. So first, from player 1, we have a Listel first pick, and we have 2 more tanks banned, so Juggler and Ledin banned. Now player 1 can look to pick up the remaining tank in Estelle. And we have a Juggler first pick on player 2 side. So running 2 tank box usually means you're going to first pick a tank. In this case, Landis is banned. You're kind of forced to pick the Juggler here. And over here we can look at what's the meaning of this ban. We see a Liana and Hiei ban. So having a 3 healer box means you can force your opponent to take a healer if you ban one of the healers early, like in this case. So Liana gets banned here, which is good, because Act Again is a very strong skill for player 2. Now the only 2 healers left is the Iris and Weiler on player 2 side. So you can force your opponent to pick up one of the remaining healers by doing this, otherwise they have to go without a healer. And now we want to take a look in depth of this Hiei ban. So what is the point of banning Hiei here instead of the Zarda? Because Zarda would usually be stronger than Hiei, just because Zarda can bring Meteor faction buff for Juggler. That would be very good. If you bring Hiei, then that means the Juggler have to bring faction buff for the Hiei. So we can immediately tell that what is Hiei good against that Zarda is not, and then determine what kind of game player 1 might be trying to play here. So really the only unit that Hiei might be better against is trying to snipe off the Yulia here. Yulia can be quite annoying to deal with if you give up, or give your opponent Yulia here. because they can ban something like Bozo, Listel next, and then make Yulia quite annoying to deal with. So you'll have to use something like the Luna here, or Claret, and then have to try to get the kill that way. But your opponent can also like make plays to save their Yulia, so it will be an annoying battle, to say the least. So that's why we see the next picks and bans here. So player 1, instead of going for Yulia here, picks up the Listel. And player 2 bans the Yulia in this case, because he knows if the other threats here gets banned, then Yulia might be too difficult to deal with. And then picks up the Rachel instead of the one of the remaining healers here. So this is the other strength of the 3 healer box, because you run 3 healers because you can potentially not run a healer. Otherwise, the easiest thing to deal with these 3 healer box is first ban the healer, obviously, because you either force your opponent to go with no tanks or no healers. But this is what the point of the 3 healer box is. It's so that you can run without a healer. Rachel is very good at this. She can bring Gospel, she can heal for the team, she can dispel for the team. So if all the healing you need can just come from Rachel, or like from Juggler in this case, or you can also pick up the Yulia, then that's really all the healing you're going to need. Now, if you're going to pick up Zerda later on, the Meteor faction buff can also sort of heal your team, or at least all the Meteor units at least. So this is the strength of it. You don't need to have a healer, you can just have more threats on the board. They can heal as they attack, and that kind of aggression is going to give you map control and probably win you more trades, because while your opponents are healing up their units, you're dealing more damage to them. Okay, so next we have the 2 other healers banned. Now, doing this, picking up the Rachel instead of the other 2 healers, means you have 1 free pick out of all of these remaining units. So any one of them, like the best carry that you have, is yours to pick. And that means you can pick up anything that can deal with your opponent's team. So Rachel is already very good against Estelle being magic damage and Estelle having low magic defense. If the Rachel is on Meditation Ring, she can ignore the Listelle's Blood Dance damage. With Gospel, you can ignore the Finger of Death, if you want to. But Juggler also kind of wants Gospel, depending on your opponent's pick here. So, well, forward, and we see a Liana, 3rd pick here. Now running a 4 healer box means if you early pick one of the healers, it means you can potentially be forced to pick a 2nd healer later on. So it's not really that good if you're going to early pick one of the healers or having a 4 healer box, unless you're totally fine with running 2 healers. But usually running multiple healers means you have less threats here. So already from this 3rd pick, we can already probably see that player 1 is going to end up with 1 tank and 2 healers, while the player 2 runs no healers, but they have like 5 threats in a way, in a sense. Okay. And then we see 2 more bans, Leon and Bozo. Both can be quite annoying here. Leon can smash the Juggler for a lot of damage, maybe run away. Bozo can sleep or drop black holes, and usually drops like 3 or 4 debuffs at a time with its talent and maybe the Miracle Staff. So even with just the Rachel dispelling, it might be too much for her to handle. So I agree with those bans. Now here, so out of all the remaining units, player 2 picks up Yulia. Yulia is not really that great against Listel. Now you have 3 units that kind of wants a gospel on them, but you only have 1 gospel here. So anyone that gets fingered are going to be quite unfortunate. So here we have a Claret and a Gizerov band. Now the Claret is also going to need a faction buff from somewhere, so probably not the best band here. As long as Estelle is tanky enough, you might look to survive the Claret. Now the Gizerov does mythical faction buff for all of the remaining units here. Yusuke, Bozo, Zerida, Yulia, and also the Juggler. So I think the Yusuke band was okay. Claret though, not so sure on that. And here we have a 4th pick Varna. Now the strength of Varna is giving your team a mass attack buff and an AoE bonus buff. But here it's not really effective at all. Now you're going to tell to your opponent that you're going to go for some sort of AoE play here with Listel, Finger on Juggler, then you can go in with Varna AoEs. But if your opponent just gospels the Juggler, then that plan might be difficult to achieve. And if the gospel goes on the Juggler, then Varna is going to have a very difficult time dropping the arrow rain, 1000 arrows. So that's going to be not a very effective pick, I think. But then looking at the remaining units here, there's really not a whole lot that player 1 could have done here. The Elwyn might have helped, but then Elwyn is also going to get one-shotted by Yulia or the Rachel here. Now Elwyn can Sword Soul and potentially look to one-shot or disable the Juggler or the Yulia here. So maybe Elwyn could have been better, but it's hard to say here. Now the player 1 is forced to pick one of the other remaining healers, so he is forced onto 2 healers, 1 tank, and his only threats here are Varna and Listel, both not really that threatening. Like the heal reversal is good, the AoE is sort of okay, but overall the threats are not very high on player 1's team. And here, a Luna is 4th picked. Luna is quite good here, I would say. The Luna can speed up the Juggler if Juggler wants to run in with a Beast Shock. Also speeds up the Yulia, faction buffs for Yulia, so Yulia can go in and just obliterate really anyone she hits other than Listel. And here last we have Listel banned as well as Yusuke banned. So this is the other thing you run into banning healers early. You give up all of these threats to your opponent. So they have all these threats that you have to ban out, like a Zerida can be 5th pick here, and that would be very bad here. Zerida would love to be on this team, having a Luna, giving Zerida plus mobility, also faction buffing for Juggler here. Well, this Luna is also faction buffing for Yulia, so this is like very high synergy team. Well, on this side we have a 5th pick forced healer. Now you have 2 healers here versus all these threats. So you can't even win a stall game here just because your opponent all damages you. They could potentially look to do some damage back, but you'll have to kill the Juggler first. That means you have to sort of deal with this Gospel from Rachel first, but you still can't really one-shot the Juggler or kill the Juggler that fast. So this is the thing with just running Listel without that much threats here. So from pick and bans, I would say player 2 definitely wins this match. There's a lot of things the player 2 can do here. Just speed up one of your units, like the Zerda with Luna. Get snipes, that can be one win condition. They can go in with a Wind God Realm and the whole team rushing forward. Well, player 1 here is going to struggle a lot. You have one finger, so the Finger of Death can disable something like the Yulia from engaging, but then Verna is not going to AoE all that effectively, so player 1 would have to look for the key arrow lanes where it does not hit the juggler, and then keep doing that, chip down your opponent, or you can look to finger the juggler, hit them with arrow lanes, and then just hit and run. If you can get the range, that is. Because against Zerda and Luna, that's probably not going to happen. So, now let's say player 2 definitely wins this battle, just from pick and bans here. So we'll not look at the actual match, just wanted to do a in-depth review of how you can look at picks and bans, try to determine what sort of game plan your opponent is trying to play, like how the Hiei got early banned. Your player, the player 1 might have been looking to play Yulia. Playing out Listo might have hinted at playing some sort of AoE team, and then you have to pick and ban accordingly. And also, we looked at how strong the 3 healer box is here. Having all of these threats here at the end, 4th picking Luna for Yulia faction buff, 5th picking the Zerda to go with Luna as well as the juggler. So yeah, very good. That's it for now, and I will see you guys next time.